Now I found this fabulous old pin, and I've decided that what I'm going to do is make, I don't know, a badge or an emblem, something that's a material base that hangs from here, and so it can be pinned on or pinned anywhere else on the overalls or not used at all. So I haven't made one before. I reckon I can give that a go. So I've just drawn a template on some paper for the badge. The blue line will be the final, hopefully finished size, and the green line, which is about 1 centimetre wider and longer, will be how I cut the fabric. So we will see how it goes. So I've cut mine out and I'm folded it on the centre line, so I'm actually going to use that because it's not quite right, so I will actually use half of it and cut out my fabric on the fold, and then I know everything will match. So I've decided that on the front I'm going to use this checked fabric which I have bleached, sort of saying, well, the front of a medal or so might be a bit worn, and then on the back I'm using this really, I guess, in pristine condition bit of fabric, and I will cut out one from each and I will sew them right sides together. Now you can hand sew these, doesn't matter. I'm going to machine stitch, and then when I sew, I'll be sewing around these 3 sides, and then I'll turn it inside out, so we'll have the good sides of both fabric facing up on the front and out on the back. Then I'm going to do a whip stitch around these. It's only just for effect. You don't have to. You could do a blanket stitch, you could do a straight stitch, and I'm just going to do a little whip stitch. Then anything else that you add on the front, haven't quite worked out what that might be just yet, but anything that you add, I will hand sew, and I'm going to sew, you'll be sewing through both layers of fabric, but that's fine. That's what I want, but if you don't want to do that, then you sew all your pieces on just your front piece before you stitch them together. But I'm going to do it a very old-fashioned way. Now with the badge, award, emblem, whatever it is, I've decided to add a piece of batting to it. That's just an old scrap I've got. If you want to do that, you can. It will just give it a bit more texture, which, as you know, it's one of the things I like. If you don't have batting, you could use an old hanky or just several layers of old cotton. The older, the better, because you sort of want it to be soft. I still want this soft. I don't want this stiff, so nothing like interfacing stiffness. So I've got this fabulous pillowcase. Oh, it's got, if you find anything like this, just grab it. And there's so much potential in your upcycling with butterflies and stamps and writing, and look at that fantastic tag hanging out of a pocket. That would be great. That's super as well. But I think I might try and use some of this and a little bit of the writing. We'll see how it goes. Look at the postcard. It's just fantastic. So, as I said, see anything like this. This would have come with a doona cover. I think I made some overalls out of it. So, grab them. Thank you. So I have sewn the badge, that's the back and that's the front. So I've sewn it onto the pin. You just need to be mindful that you're sewing it onto the bit with the head, and it sits down, so that's the way you want it to sit. And it's not that it's puffy, but there's a little bit of thickness with the piece of batting. I'm not worried about stuff like that, so now I'm just going to do the whip stitch, because the whole stitch, not snitch, the whole thing is sort of, rustic, but from here, that's the way that it looks. As I said, it's got that worn, which is the bleached effect, and I'm really happy with the shape. Maybe, could have been a few mil bigger on each side, but I'm happy with that. So here I am working on the badge, and in the end I machine sewed everything, totally changed what I was going to put on. And in fact, I thought that was too dark, so that's why I've put that little bit of lace just over the top. I don't mind that there's a hint of darkness. It needs a good iron. And so now what I want is something in the middle, and I've just pulled this from, oh, you know, I've got lots of bits and pieces of old necklaces that I just thrift. So I think that's lovely. So that will definitely just be hand sewed, and I'll probably just hand sew it, I think, around the top. And I guess, like, you know, you can change your mind when you're doing any of this stuff, or if you don't like something, you can pop something back over the top. Thank you.